Good day to everyone. This is Coach Alfonso Short. I'd like to thank you for being a part of our special edition today of ManXchange, the ManXchange Summit. Today we're going to have the authors of the co-authors of the book, The ManXchange, the manuscript, Ready to Lead, Thrive, and Win. We're going to have discussion about the making of the book as well as interjecting some of the things that we learned about ourselves and things that we shared and hope that it's beneficial to others in this process. I hope that you enjoy the show, enjoy each man, how they continue to share more. If you were not a part of some of the early events that we had in advertising and doing things with this event. I'd like for each individual that's a part of the book to take a moment just to share a little bit about themselves, and we will go through the panel with everyone who's a part of the book, and they will just introduce themselves. We'll start with Mr. Jerome.
Okay, glad to be here today. My name is Jerome Scott. The alias is the insurance guy, and I put a lot in working with individuals, uh, upstart businesses, and I don't want to leave out, do a lot with youngsters.
Okay, very well. Mr. Farmer.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Greg Farmer, senior servant at Covenant Family Worship Ministries here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I co-pastor along with my wife. We are celebrating our 36th wedding anniversary, August the 10th. Father to two sons, papa to six grandchildren, and have a heart for marriage and family to really empower and to grow them to be what God has designed for them to be.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Larry?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Larry Chandler, reside in Greensboro, North Carolina. Present time a real estate agent. I was had over 35 years in the telecommunications field. I'm glad to be here with all the co-authors. Thank you.
Mr. Wendell?
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy, Dr. Wendell Fields, coming at you. And boy, I tell you, it's a good day to be on. And hey, I work in the mental health field, been in there for 32 years now. And man, I'm lucky to be a part of this project about men and the script that they write and do. And it's just an honor to be with you today.
Okay, and Mr. Tremaine? Okay, we'll come back to Mr. Tremaine. Can it, Mr. Christopher?
Hello, guys. My name is Chris Williams. I am a husband in 10 years of a beautiful marriage. I have 2 kids. I work as a physical therapist in Fayetteville, North Carolina, managing a physical therapy practice, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Okay, and I'd like to ask if you're not speaking, would you please just mute until it's time for you to have some type of conversation? All right, I'll come back now to Mr. Tremaine.
Hey, good afternoon, rather good evening, everyone. My name is Tremaine Thurman. I've been a licensed clinician for about 22 years. Currently, I function as more of a consultant and an author. I'm a husband of 3 beautiful kids. Well, I'm not the husband of 3 beautiful kids. I'm the father of 3 beautiful kids. And I have a wonderful wife I've been married to for over 20 years now. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
All right, fantastic. And once again, I am Coach Alfonso Short. I'm a life coach. I'm also the curator of this book, and I've been working with youth for over 30 years. I hope that you enjoy what we're doing. This is the introduction of the men who made this happen. And now we're going to get into panel discussion in areas of leadership, character, discipline, accountability, responsibility, and setting an image for those that's coming behind us. I will start with a few questions that which should be random to each individual. You may not get a question in this segment, it could come in another, but we're gonna work at it, at making sure that we get to share our hearts even more than what we put in the book if it stands. First of all, I'll go with Mr. Jerome Scott in the area of leading. When you hear the word leadership, what does it mean to you beyond having a title? Unmute, please.
Of course, you need to have people that are with you. If you call yourself leading and you turn around and look back and you don't see anybody, you got a problem.
Yes, sir.
So it's a matter of getting out there, cultivating, letting people see how you react in all situations that are available so they can certainly critique you and you can get a chance to critique yourself and move forward in whatever endeavor that you're trying to get across. Whether you're building something, supervising, whether you are counseling, whatever the endeavor is, you've got to be flexible enough to actually get out there and train and have people have confidence in what you do and what you say.
Okay. Would anyone else like to respond to that question of what does it mean to you beyond having a title when it comes to the word leadership?
Sure, brother. I respond to that. When I think about leadership, John Maxwell says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And Jesus teaches us that leadership is about service. So when I think about leadership beyond the title, I think about someone that's influential servant. Someone that uses their gifts and talents of influence to serve other people is really about not about you, the person. It's about what you and the position that you have can do to those around
Okay. Now, Mr. Wendell,
Hmm.
what responsibility do you have to model in leadership for boys and younger men that you feel that it will make an impact on their lives and in their lives?
The one thing that a person needs to do and consider, how are you leading yourself? Many of us talk about leading others, but yet, how do you lead yourself in that? How do you treat yourself? In order to be an effective leader, you got to learn how, one, to treat yourself, respect yourself, honor yourself. Even when it comes down to processing emotions, you need to know you. But yet, here it is. We get into leadership roles and we don't even know how to lead others because we're so Christian to be so in control of someone. But yet, you got to be in control of yourself. So that means you got to sit down with yourself, talk with yourself, have time to process emotions and feelings and thoughts, and then come up with a solution. And then work your plan with that. And when you do that, then you'll start learning how to work with people because you got to know yourself.
This is good. If I can piggyback on that, if it's
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
Brother Allen.
Okay.
In my work, in my research, I do a lot on this idea of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. And this is what you were speaking about. It's this whole idea of, first of all, knowing who you are. Because when you know who you are, you can have a challenging conversation with yourself. And that self-regard leads you to be more confident to have a challenging conversation with, if you're in business, a customer, and if you're on a team member. And by having that, you develop this idea of accountability and transparency. And that's where it's all about, because how can you lead if you can't be accountable? And greater than that, how can you lead if you're not transparent? So I love what you are saying about that. That is key. You got to know who you are first.
Well, I think the other thing that comes up, what was said about know yourself. Some leaders don't even like themselves. So we got to deal with that issue. And that's what makes them, they think they're great leaders, but they're really poor leaders.
And,
If I may
that's,
add,
yes.
if I may add, great points that the brothers have stated in reference to the responsibility that I believe I would have to younger men or younger generation. I found with the youth that I've worked with over the years, as I work to find out where they are or how they think or how they view a particular thing, it helps me in understanding where they are and what they know. And that adds to me being able to effectively lead them in a proper way. Not me just giving them things or taking them in a direction that I want them to go because I feel that that's the way they want them to go. I found that the young men that I worked with, when they found or when they felt that their voice mattered to me, they didn't mind talking to me or following my leadership.
Okay. Now, another question I like for Mr. Larry, if you may respond to this. What is one leadership lesson you had to learn through experience rather than advice?
I guess I would say that one leadership lesson I learned was that everyone's not going to like you. So the best thing you can do is to like yourself and just be real, just be genuine with all those around you. Because if you try to portray someone that you're not, you're going to imply that you're false. So if you're just real all the time, that's what really works.
Would anyone else like to respond to that?
You're not going to be right all the time. You got to know that. Now, in my case, I've been right all the time, so I don't know how other people do it. But again, keep that in mind.
Holly.
One leadership lesson I think that I had to learn, I say two things. I was in the military, and I had a drill sergeant, and he always said, "I'm never gonna ask you to do something that I won't do myself." So when we was getting drilled or whatever, he was leading from the front. He was the first one down. He did it with us because he understood that he couldn't effectively lead us if he couldn't show us first. So that's one thing that I would say. And another thing that I had to learn from experience is um, people can teach you what to do and what not to do. So even in them teaching you where you're learning something, then is on the other side, they're also showing you things how you can do it better, and you don't really have to go that way. It's not saying that you don't respect their leadership or what they're doing, but they can show you the good. You can see the good of it, and you can also see the bad of it. So you can see which way to go or how I can do something because this issue may happen, so I can go another way. And I don't have to go the long way. They can teach you how not to go the long way to get to the result.
And I think it was kind of mentioned earlier, and go back to this question that I didn't ask it at the time, but it was touched on, and I like to hear some responses. How can men lead effectively when they are still working through challenges of their own? Because we all continue to have challenges day to day, and you are in the role first as a man, but then in maybe official role of your job, other things to the capacity of being in leadership. How do you manage that when you're being challenged greatly?
This is one I had to learn. And for me, it was this idea, first of all, of being transparent. You know, when you're raised as a male here in the Western culture, there are certain dynamics or even certain stereotypes that are put on you. But when you learn to be transparent, and transparency is this whole idea of having a bit of collaboration around you, having those who may be stronger or weaker on your team that are able to speak into your life. So when you find that group of individuals, because I mean, if you want to go back to what the Bible does say, in many counselors, there's safety, right? And where two or three gather together is touching on anything, he's in the midst. So we know there's a bit of unity there. But I'm coming from the spiritual side because that's my paradigm. That's what I work within. So again, I'll say this, which is transparency plus accountability equals unity. And you need that in life. You need to have a group of people you can be transparent with, that you can be accountable to, and that's how you grow. So in your weakness, that's an opportunity for you to grow. But I don't believe that every challenge I've been through is for me. It's for me to help the next generation. So whether that's my child, whether that's my spouse, or somebody I may come in contact with, that's what those challenges are for. So transparency plus accountability equals that unity to allow you to grow.
And what do you think about that, Mr. Wendell?
Man, I like what he is saying, because when you have transparency, when you have accountability, it helps you to understand that it's okay to not know.
Yeah.
And not only that, it brings up the courage to say, I don't know. Can you help me out? What is your expertise on this? What do you know about this? And when we as men get together and we're vulnerable like that, it opens up the ability to say, wow, I didn't know that. What? Man, that's a good idea. Hey, John, what do you think about that, man? That was some, oh, man, it was Prime America, a guy I knew a bit of Prime America, but yet I didn't know a different perspective. And so I got back and said, hey man, I like how you're talking. Can you share more about Prime America that maybe I'm not looking at and that I need to take in consideration? And you know what? He educated me, but yet I'm the leader. And so you got to know how to speak and say, hey, I don't know. And that takes honesty, that takes out pride, and that helps you even to develop that other person and yourself.
That's how we grow, by learning from others and learning by trial and error. There's no right or wrong way to learn how to move in a progressive way in life, and also to take, the things that it's not going our way as teachable moments and continue to strive to be better. Um, I have one more question I want everybody and give everyone a chance to kind of respond to this, because in order to be the successful men that you are, you had to have some degree of discipline you did, which becomes a habit. So my question to you is, what habits or disciplines have led to the greatest impact on your life? And we'll start with, again, Mr. Jerome. Unmute, please.
What is the one thing that I did? I think consistency, being very consistent in what I do and how I handle things. That's pretty important for me to stay on track. That's very important. And it's interesting you should bring up, what led to this, what led to that, how do you handle that? Certainly, in some cases, you have to fake it until you make it. And don't be ashamed also to get with your group to say, this is what I'm doing now, and take those blows as a growing pattern for you, and utilize new ideas to take you further.
And Mr. Farmer.
Yes, sir. To piggyback again off Brother Larry when he stated about being real, and Tremaine and Brother Wendell talking about that transparency and being honest. One of the things that I found that helped me to develop the discipline was to be committed and consistent. To remain committed, consistent, and disciplined in the things that I said that I was going to do, and then if I could not do it, be honest in saying that I wasn't able to do it, and be open to individuals around me helping me or showing me how to do it. My pride used to really trip me up a lot in my earlier years, but I've gotten much better now that I'm 2 clicks away from 60.
Right. Yeah.
Mr. Holly.
I would say it's nothing that I learned. I'm learning that later. It's just how to be an effective listener. To me, sometimes we be quick to respond, and we don't gather information. We don't reflect on the information that has been gathered. So it's not like that we're moving ahead, but the Bible tells us to be quick to hear, slow to speak. So I'm learning how to listen more, because even in the listening, you're you're providing whoever is speaking a safe space. You're not judging. You're providing a safe space, and that's what you want. You want them to be able to come to you if they need an ear, and because they in that moment they're being vulnerable, and they can't be vulnerable if you're quick to say something, and now your response is a judgment to what they're saying. So if you're quick to hear, you can just contemplate on what they're saying, and like you guys said, you don't have to have the answer right then. You can contemplate on that thing overnight. You can pray about what they said, and then you can go to them. Oh, I heard what you said, and this is what I got, and so that's what I've learned.
I think that's good information. Mr. Christopher.
Sure, I would say two things. One, I would say is prayer. Uh, Praying consistently helped me develop a relationship with God, and that relationship has made the greatest impact on my life because of the doors that have been opened, because of the grace that has been shown. The second thing that is reading, and not just reading word. Yes, reading the word of God, but also reading in general. One quote that changed my life is that a mind that is stretched to new dimensions, it never a mind that is stretched by a new idea, it never returns back to its original dimensions. And just learning the power of consistent reading, and reading the thoughts of people that have come before you, because I've learned that success leaves clues. And as I read so many books, I began to see a pattern of people that have reached a level of success, and you begin to see principles that they live by. But some of those things you never get exposed to if you never pick up a book and read them. So I think those habits were most impactful.
Mr. Larry.
Yes, no one is ever going to know everything about everything except God. So once you accept that, and if you really believe, just trust in your faith that God will prepare you, that if you don't know the answer, He will point you to resources for the answer or to guide you in the right direction. It's sort of like going down, say you're going to go to a destination that's 30 minutes away, and maybe you're going to take the interstate, you find out it's blocked. Well, that doesn't mean you can't get to where you're trying to go. It just means you may have to go a different direction. So I think you always need to keep in mind that you prepare the best you can, but you're never going to know everything about everything. But you got to remember that if you truly believe in God, He already knows, and He knows what you need, and that's where our faith comes in. I was a technician for a long time in the telecommunications field. I worked with circuits and things, technology. You couldn't see it. It moved so fast, you couldn't see it, you couldn't hear it. But after time and experience, and I guess you say faith, it's going to work out all right, because if you did one thing, if you input one thing, you were going to get an output. And I think that's one of the laws of God. If you just trust in Him and believe that He's going to direct you, you're going to be okay, and it's going to come out all right.
Okay. Okay, I think that's great. If you're just joining in, I'd like for you to think about these things and continue to listen to these gentlemen if you can, is hopefully throughout the entire broadcast. But the question that was asked was, what habits or discipline have had the greatest impact on your life? And they're responding. We go to Brother Tremaine.
All right. So, what habits or disciplines have had the greatest influence or greatest impact on your life? Um, for me, it's been living and understanding seasons. So for me, I'm in that 44 to 63 year age range. So in this season of my life, I'm realizing that the young, and this season is really called my fall season, the younger me was more competitive. As I'm getting older, I'm more collaborative in nature, because I'm realizing one thing is that I don't know it all. And that there are men and women who've been placed on this earth. I call them, they're like my divine interventionist. Those individuals have been divinely placed here on this earth to be my destiny helpers, to aid and assist me in the things that I need help in. Okay, I read this incredible book, and it taught me this idea of finding your who. It's the who, not the how. Because once you find your who, you can spend your time really working in your gift. Because you've been called, and I've been called to do something very dynamic, very specific here on this earth for a very specific time. And if you're spending your time and I'm spending my time occupying space where somebody else is meant to do those things, it's like I'm not reaching out to those who I should be impacting. And I guess the biggest other part of that too, because it's in three layers, is yesterday I was going for my run, and I was just overwhelmed to the point that I had so much going on. And I'm not sure if you guys have ever been there, but overwhelmed to the point that I was stuck. I was paralyzed in this mental state that I did nothing. And when I read through the portions of this book, I realized this. The author said in there, you and I need to spend more time with ourselves, as Dr. Wendell Fields said, because sometimes you can go to people and ask their opinion and ask their perspective about something when the answer's already inside of you. You went through, and I went through so much in life, that if you just sit down and spend enough time with yourself, you can get a perspective. And then if you want to go out, or I want to go out to others, I can allow them to confirm what I already feel as though has been impressed upon my heart during that period of time. But that's it for me. One, making sure that I'm collaborative more in this world. Two, understanding my season that I'm in. And really, three, understanding that a lot of the answers are already inside of me. I just need to spend enough time to really cultivate, grab them out of there, so that I can experience the next level of success, or connect to the next person I need to.
Great sharing, great sharing. And Dr. Wendell Field.
Well, I thank everybody for their thing. I just want to add on, because everything has been good. What we've been talking about was, for me, it's going to be the finding out my why. Because when I find out my why and practice it, man, it opens up some good stuff on how, when, where, what. And in that, when I relate to my why, and as I have God in my life and He is explaining and helping me to understand my why, ooh, I guarantee the gifts, the abilities, the talents that we all have starts to expand like nobody's business, because we understand why.
Right, I think that's fantastic, and I want to at least respond in this one as well when it talks about the habits and discipline. I heard everything that you all said, and it comes down to my faith in prayer time, also quiet time, and the consistency is that just continue, as Brother Tremaine said, a lot of times if you just kind of be still and listen to your heartbeat, listen to your mind speak to you, and then be patient, and then make your move with confidence of whatever your decision is and whatever the task that you have that challenges you and that you have to perform, and trusting that you have all the tools available to you and within you to be successful. I think that this was a great first segment of the show. We spoke in the areas of leading, our character, and accountability. We're going to go to the next segment, which will be thrive, beyond simply surviving. And this will cover areas about resilience, personal growth, faith, which we've spoken of already, mentorship, overcoming challenges, and becoming stronger through all the challenges that set before you. We'd like to lead off with a pretty simple question that we probably all ask ourselves from time to time through the day-to-day challenges. What's the difference between you surviving and thriving? And then we make it personal that way, but just a general answer. What is the difference between surviving and thriving? I'd like everyone to give me a short response to that.
Brother Al, when I think of surviving, I think about just making it. Okay. I think about this idea of I just have enough, and may not even be comfortable, but I've just made it. And when I think about thriving, I think about this principle. You know, when I was very young, I think I was in my teens, probably about 16, 17 years old. And I asked my dad, I said, "Hey, Pop," I said, "what does it mean to be rich or wealthy?" And he said, "Son, when you are wealthy, all of your bills are paid and you have enough money to do whatever you want." I think that's thriving. And when if you take that outside of the financial piece, because we're body, soul, and spirit, when I think of thriving as well spiritually, I think about my needs are met. I have enough capacity to help minister to the needs of others, and I'm not tired. And if you want to take that into the body perspective, thriving in health is this whole idea of one, you're taking care of the temple, the one temple that you've been given here on earth, and you have enough strength to help those around you. So I see it as a more than enough mindset, a more than enough state, kind of like your Ephesians 3:20.
Okay. Brother Holly?
When I think about surviving versus thriving, surviving is just like existing. You get up, you doing the daily things in life. It doesn't really have to do with um, monetary value, but you're just not operating in any calling or anything. When I think about thriving, it gives me John 10:10. Jesus said that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I come that you may have life and life more abundantly. So the abundant life, the life is just the surviving. The abundant life, you're um you're moving in every part of your life. It's not just financially, it's spiritually, it's your relationships, it's on the job. It's almost like everything you do or anybody you come in contact because they know you, because your gift is on display, you make them better. Anything you put your hand to, you make it better. That's what I look at thriving.
Okay.
Surviving is I'm walking around and I haven't even realized what my purpose is yet.
Okay. Very good. Brother Farmer?
Yes, for me, brother, great question. Surviving, as I wrote down here, going day by day, piggybacking off of Brother Calvin. I'm surviving, just going with day by day. And if I'm quote unquote surviving mentally, I would put myself in survival mode, thinking that I have to be on guard or be in the ready. It's kind of like that fight or flight. When I think about thriving, the kingdom of God is within me. And when piggybacking again off of Brother Calvin, if I know my purpose and I understand my purpose, Brother Wendell, I know my why and I'm walking in my why, brother Tremaine, I know what season I'm in, then I'm able to not just quote unquote give and supply what I need, but I have enough in me to be able to help someone else as well move forward. That's what I think of when I think of thrive.
Okay. And Brother Christopher?
You know, when I think of those two words, surviving and thriving, it reminds me of existing and growth, the difference between existing and growth. And I think that could be any area of life. That could be take one role that you're in right now, or every role as a husband, as me as a physical therapist, whatever that role is, you can exist in that role. You can go through the motions. You can follow the routine. All of us have become competent enough to do what we're doing with our eyes closed without thinking about it. You know, but when I think about someone that's thriving, I think about someone that's growing. You're leaning forward. You're proactively pursuing opportunities of growth. It's a mindset. You're never thinking that you've made it. You're constantly getting around people that can challenge you. You know, you're constantly reading books. You know, it's so easy as a husband to get comfortable with the person that you wake up to every day. But what does it look like as a husband to thrive and to grow, to continue to lean forward and discover more about your wife, even as you change, even as we change throughout the year. So, you know, surviving and thriving, to me, is synonymous with just existing in an area and growing in an area.
Very good. Very good. Mr. Larry?
Oh yeah, surviving and thriving. That's a very interesting question. And it's sort of like this. You can survive and just go day to day and look forward to the weekend just to try to get there. Well, you survived it. But when you're thriving, you're actually looking forward to where you are, but not only that, but where you're trying to get to. Because when you get in your purpose or what you feel God has led you to do, you're actually going to thrive. And it's going to be more than surviving, because you're going to look forward to, hey, today was a great day, but tomorrow's going to be a better day, because just look, I'm growing. I'm getting closer to where I need to be or where I want to be. And does that mean that once you start thriving that you stop? No, because there's something better. So you want to add on to that thriving, because it's going to build on itself. It's going to generate more confidence in you that you're right where you need to be, and you're right where you feel like God has the purpose for your life.
Word. That's a very good word. Uh, Mr. Jerome Scott.
Okay, when you look at those two words, surviving to me is, of course, just like everyone has said, is just making it. What you're trying to do there in surviving, from the context of what I do, is you're opening doors. You're trying to find out where people are, and you're making those contacts, and contacts are important. And you stay uh, connected. And yes, you're still surviving, but then there's going to be a point, whether it be 2 months down the road, 2 days down the road, 6 months down the road, or even a year down the road. Those people that you were talking to and going through survival mode with, they're going to be ready to listen. And when they're ready to listen, you're ready to certainly get your program, present your program for them to follow. And after one, you get another, you get another, you get another. And again, after that, you're thriving and you're feeling good. So everything that you touch uh, from the survival end does have an end. And then when you get to the thriving, it seems like when you're thriving, everything that you touch turns to gold.
Could you please share, Mr. Wendell? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Could you-
Yeah. When it comes down to surviving, I feel like you're doing just the minimum. It's whatever I can do just to get by. Average, sometimes under the average, but hey, I'm getting my needs met. That's that surviving mode. But when it comes to um, maximizing and thriving, man, you live into the fullest potential in each and every area of your life. And I mean, you running from the overflow. You filled up your cup, and here it is. This is large enough to roll on to somebody else, and you're cultivating growth for them. So it's all of what we've been saying, and y'all been hitting it. I'm just honored to be a part of the rodeo.
I'm in total agreement with every response, but we have to be reminded that men, specifically and particularly, we have a problem asking for help, and that was mentioned uh, in some of the question and answer prior to now. And Brother Tremaine mentioned how through his seasons he's come to understand collaboration and teaming up with particular things makes it the task a whole lot easier to handle as well as to accomplish. How why can asking for help be difficult for men, and how can we change that? And and please go round robin with this. Someone speak, and
May
we
I jump in?
actually see a few responses.
Yes, I'm going to be very transparent here with my brothers. There was a season in my life where I struggled with asking for help because I had identity issues. I did not know who Greg Farmer was. I did not know what my purpose was. I did not know what I was to do. I was around the Marine Corps brothers that way. I was around my fraternity brothers that way. And even sad to say, well, no, not sad to say, truthfully to say, when I entered into the body of Christ, I started to do, because I didn't know me, I started to identify or think that I had to be like other brothers. And so if I thought I had to be like other brothers, me not knowing me, it there was a level of pride and insecurity of me. I was insecure to ask for help. Okay, what ended up happening when I got over that hump with the help of God through prayer and then being honest. And if I may, let me give some kudos to my wife Yolanda as well, because she was a major help in that area right there. I recognize that my part does matter. Every part does apply to the sum of the whole. I'm a part. My piece does matter. I don't have to look like, I don't have to sound like any other brother. It's okay for me to be how I am, but then it's also okay for me not to know and to say to a brother to collaborate. If I could piggyback off of Brother T, to collaborate and then say, I don't know. Can you help me? Can you show me? And that helped me grow. It's very important as a man to admit that you don't know, that you need help, and then be open to that help.
I think that's great advice that you just shared. And would I have Brother Christopher, would you please share in that area?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think as men, we grow up with the goal of being independent. I'm gonna be an independent man, and we fail to understand the concept of interdependence. We really win in life when we learn interdependence. We learn community. And I think because we have that mindset of being independent, I can survive on my own. I can make it on my own. It builds walls. It builds barriers. And if there's a facade that we have trouble letting go of, we have trouble taking off the mask. And I think a lot of it is like Brother Form talk about, identity. If you don't have confidence in who you are, it makes it hard to be vulnerable enough, because to be vulnerable, you got to let go of the mask. You got to take off the mask. And when you're asking for help, that's a very vulnerable situation where men may see it as weakness, where it's actually strength, because the goal is to be effective and successful, not to be independent. And interdependence is the formula that leads to you being effective and successful. And I think the way that we change that is building community of men that are where there is safety, where there is no judgment, where there is transparency.
It's interesting from the standpoint, we look at this, that particular topic has been going on for centuries. Uh, Again, it's out there. We just do not go to one another. And this has been going on for the dawn of time. Uh, yeah, 85% of people are going through problems, 85%, and they're having difficult times. And 15% glad it's not them. So we just don't share with one another. Will it happen? Well, you may be able to get 3 or 4, 5 or 6. The point is, we just do not, as a whole, do that. Can we change it? Well, if enough people, we're changing it. The group on this podcast at this point, but how many people are we able to get to? I don't want to sound negative, but the point is, there's only so many people that we can get to, and hopefully they can certainly benefit, and they can certainly share, and it becomes like a snowball rolling down a hill, and making things, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But again, this topic, if you will, this concern has been going on for centuries, and we just still have not gotten it together.
Can I add to this right quick? I've been working out. The brother man has been putting it in at the gym, and when I look at that bad boy, that wait a minute, no flab, no flab. But when I put in the time with that, I feel like I've done something, right? I mean, I got muscles here, there, everywhere, because I've been working out. I've been practicing. And then when I see some results, boy, oh yeah, don't hold the brother man back, because I've been doing good. I've been on my regimen. I've been disciplined and all of that. So you can't tell me that, hey man, the exercise you're doing ain't hitting the full effect for you there, buddy. You and when we hear that, it bruises our identity. It bruises our who we are, and man, I can't let you do that to me. I'm trying to make moves here. I'm trying to quote unquote impress other people instead of trying to impress myself with the things that is needed to thrive. So, that pride thing ain't no joke. But you have to humble yourself. And when we humble ourselves, as far as me, I'll say for me, I got to humble myself before God, because if I don't, pride will come up big time. And man, I just lose that way. I lose people and I lose myself.
This is good. I The culture we're in, it's all about programming. You've been programmed, and I've been programmed to think and do and be who we are from the beginning of time. We've always been programmed to be. And if you want to go back even further, you can go back when we first stepped foot on this land. It's about programming. We've been programmed to do and be who we are. Now, here's the amazing thing about it. You can change the programming, but it's going to take time. But it takes a person self-regard, like teaching this whole idea of regard, like who you are. Well, let me tell you one thing I do with my daughter. My daughter, she is 16, and she's one of the most beautiful creatures here on this earth. And I had part of that creation, okay? Now, naturally, her and her mom, all the kids, they have this natural beauty, right? But in this world, they enhance beauty. Well, how do they enhance beauty? A little foundation, a little makeup, put a little hairpiece in, all those things. And they do enhance beauty. That's great. But if I continue to speak to her beauty, and I don't speak to her intelligence, her creativity, her respect, any of those things that she is, like I haven't fortified her as a person. And that's what we're to do. If you want to change this whole idea of masculinity and then men owning up and being who they're supposed to be, we're going to have to start when they're really young and continue to pour right into them who they are, what they've been created to be, and that you're an independent thinker. Yes, you need to you need to surround yourself with people, but you were created for greatness. You will make mistakes, but it's okay. When you start doing that, you begin to change and transform the fabric of who they were created to be, and then give them back their mantle that God created them to be. You are a little God, okay? You were created in the likeness and image of God, and that's your responsibility here on this earth, is to rule, to reign, to create, not be detained, but create something great and an environment for other people.
That's that's wonderful, this interaction here. And I want to let you all know that actually you have delved into other questions that I have prepared to ask, and you really have gone into them. But I want to ask those questions because I think they'll be beneficial to the audience, that because they can't read my mind, and we're men and we have to talk and share and express ourselves. One was, how have your relationship influenced the man you have become, Brother Larry?
Okay, my relationship, uh, at some point you realize that you can't do it alone. You've got to reach out to other people that walk the road you're trying to walk. And you just got to trust, like your parents. Sometimes when you're growing up, you think, oh, they think they know everything. I'm younger than they are. I know better. But at some point in your life, you're going to get to the point you're going to say, hey, my parents, they knew a lot more than I really thought they did. Why? Because they experienced that walked down that road before. They knew what was around the next bend. Maybe you didn't. But I mean, you just gotta, life is a growth process, and it's no such thing as standing still. You either try to move forward or you get behind. Same way with technology. Either you move forward or next thing you know, I mean, like corded phones. Can still use a corded phone, but we got cell phones. They open up life. I mean, I remember, I'm sort of sidetracking here. I remember when I was growing up, I started driving. I go 25 or 30 miles, didn't have a cell phone, didn't have a pager. If I had a pager, it wouldn't have been any good because I didn't have a phone to use it. And now look at today's technology. You can go just about anywhere, especially in this United States. And you can be in contact with someone, or someone's tracking you by satellite or by video camera. You just don't know. So as technology and life has advanced, that's to where our lives need to be. They need to advance from when we were a child and we were learning. That I think I mentioned this in the book. Life is a constant learning process. The day you stop learning, in my opinion, should be the day that the Lord says, well, you've learned what I want you to learn. You passed on what I want you to pass. So it's time to come home. But other than that, if you want to thrive, you're going to learn, or you're going to attempt to learn not only what to do, but what not to do. How to listen, as a young man said earlier, you want to learn how to listen, but truly listen and be slow to speak. Because with being listening and being slow to speak, that's going to gain you wisdom. And the Heavenly Father, He's going to teach you what to say or what not to say. Thank you.
Mr. Jerome, I know that you're in the people business. You're in the helping people help themselves for short term and long term. So how have your relationships influenced the man you have become?
You just don't start with saying, I'm going to have a relationship with this person or that person. I'm a firm believer that when you certainly want to have a relationship, it's got to be grown.
Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic.
It's got to be grown. It's got to be nurtured. You have to be vulnerable. You have to put something in. You have to put some work into a relationship, and that's important. But
Unmute, Jerome.
I,
Unmute.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can
I
hear
think
you.
Mr. Coleman's audio may not be coming through.
It's not coming through. There we go. I can hear it.
Okay.
Okay, at least I can hear it. Since I can hear it, I will agree. But at any rate, when you have a relationship, you're putting together a situation where you are working with someone else, and also you're putting the time in to get to know one another, and that's important. You just don't start a relationship and then one day and 3 weeks down the road you call that person and say, I'd like to talk to you some more. It's got to be something there that has some interest that you can provide some things to, and also put yourself in that person's shoes so that you can certainly help them out and they can help you out. But again, a relationship takes time to grow. And when you're in that mode, you find out, number one, you don't know everything, and you're more receptive to actually getting new ideas, or should I say, just ideas, period, that you would not have gotten before. So by all means, you've got to be open. So relationships just don't happen; they grow, and that's something. Unfortunately, many of us do not want to take the time to grow a relationship. That's what happens with so many marriages. They haven't gotten together. They think this is a great thing. Next thing you know, they're doing this, they're doing that, but it's not together. So again, it's a situation where you have to grow together and have a point that you can grow from. So again, that's very important.
So in speaking, and you say how we grow, it's a process and we come together. So this question, what does a healthy circle of men look like to you, Brother Holly?
I think a healthy circle of men is someone that they challenges you and they offer a safe space. If I can use for example, I had to go over my brother's house, and he has his two sons stay there. He had someone else stay there, and it was confusion in the home, and each one of them had something to say, but they didn't know how to say it without yelling at each other. So he asked me if I wouldn't mind coming over there, and I was over there, and I was able to sit in on it. And before we started, we prayed, and we said what we're gonna do is we're gonna respect everybody boundaries, let them finish what they have to say before anybody say anything, anybody interrupt, and everybody was able to speak their mind. Nobody raised their voice. Everybody, because it's all men. Testosterone can get out of hand, but because it was done where everybody boundaries was respected, everybody felt like they got what they needed out of the conversation. So at the end I was like, what do you need to see to move forward? And most of them was like, I just want to feel like I'm being heard, I just want to be appreciated. But by them listening effectively and not cutting them off, and not, because as a man, somebody raise their voice at you, you're gonna automatically get defensive. But because it was a safe space, nobody, the tone was just like this tone is on the line, and it was effective communication, and it was a productive conversation. And I think that men really don't have productive conversations. We don't offer a safe space for productive conversations, because if I say something you don't like, now you on defense and now you offensive. But I tried to make sure that I steered it away from that, and we was all able to, everybody was able to speak, but nobody had no animosity, and I felt like growth took place. To the end of the conversation, my brother, he was with his sons. Now it opened up the door where his sons started talking to him about father wounds, and it got very vulnerable in there. My brother had to re-examine himself. His son had to re-examine himself, because he was talking about some things that happened years ago, but he was talking about it like it just happened yesterday. But if the floor wasn't open like that, he wouldn't have been able to get that out, because he's around his dad every day, and his dad didn't even know how he felt.
Something important, that how we learn how to be open in talking with each other. Brother Tremaine, I saw you uh, nodding your head to that sharing that Brother Holly was doing. So please expound on that for us.
It's always good. Um,
I can't hear.
can you hear me? Oh, perfect. Okay. Now, Brother Short, give me the tail end of that question again so I can answer it succinctly.
Healthy circle of men look like to you?
Thank you,
Yeah,
Brother Scott.
that's
So,
okay.
and here's the amazing part. I got your story was great, and I'm learning that telling stories is incredible. And I'm glad to see the end result of that story. And I'll go back to this. It's a circle of men to me are men who know who they are. They're comfortable in their own skin. They have the opportunity, not just the opportunity, but they are transparent and they're accountable. I was at I should say, a voluntary event earlier today, before I got on this call, and I mean men from all cultures, Spanish speaking, English speaking, what have you, educated, some in trade, some attached to the military. It was just an amazing opportunity for men of all ages to come together. And I sat there in the middle age of these individuals, okay? But what got me was this: we had a combined task. We were unified in the task that we were, or the goal rather, we were reaching for. But you saw a whole lot of transparency in that room. And in that room, not only were we transparent with each other and, and joking and telling the truth, but others held us accountable as well. But we knew each other, and that's the key thing. There's a quote from Maxwell that says, don't ask for anybody's hand until you show them your heart. And being in a room with transparency and accountability is a room where the hand has been shown, so you know who I am, what I'm about, so that now whenever I am able to engage with you at a different level, we can now have a good exchange. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a crowd. It doesn't have to be a lot, because as you get older, you realize that your circle gets smaller. You want a group of individuals who know who they are, don't mind showing and being who they are, and who can tell you anything that they need to help you to grow.
Very well. I have one more response. I'd like to hear from Brother Christopher, because I know he was an athlete through high school and college. So, what does a healthy circle of men look like to you?
Thank you, Brother Short. When I reflect on those times, I wouldn't necessarily describe them as healthy circles back then. Just because of the phase of life we were in. But a healthy circle of men. I think back on this morning. Actually, I was on a call, and it was probably 40 men there, and we were all there for a mutual purpose. And I think that's where it begins. Our values have to align. If you have men that are coming together, they're going to be productive. They have to have some level of consistent values. Because when things are beginning to be shared and the values conflict, then productivity is gonna be diminished, if you would. But what I saw this morning, and I didn't really give any input. I just sat there and I listened, and it was kind of a marriage coaching environment. And I listened to men share things that I was shocked and I was surprised that they would talk about openly, things that were going on in their relationship with their wives and some of the challenges they were having. But I realized these men have been plugging onto this event for months, maybe some even years. And it was such a level of transparency there that I realized that they had to have felt safe. It's very rare where you can find a healthy circle of men where you can be totally open and vulnerable and feel safe. And they weren't sharing it just to share; they were sharing it to get feedback. There were several men on this call that were in a role as a coach, and they were there giving feedback and giving their expertise on what to do in this situation. So you have to have a mutual. You got to have mutual values, but yet somebody has to have something to bring to the table. Everybody can't be at the same level. You have to have somebody has to be feeding someone else. So you guys are feeding one another, and there's iron sharpening iron. So there's a value exchange, if you would. But it really has to be not about me, but it's all about what can we pour into one another.
I agree. And we talk about challenging and stretching each other, but we do that as men of integrity and humility by being supportive without competition or barriers of sharing what's going on in your life. And that's really the purpose of what I hope that we are doing with this book, ManXchange, the manuscript, Ready to Lead, Thrive, and Win. And I think we're doing it. And I think by sharing this, it's helping someone else at least understand that there's a process, but you have to get in the game to win. And that's leading to our next section, which is winning. And we're going to share defining success and building legacy with a few questions, and then we'll go into a few more Q&A as we start winding down the program. Okay? So now we're going to start with winning. What does winning look like in this stage of your life, Mr. Jerome?
Winning is a sense that when you've finished up, you've accomplished what you set out for, and you've made the right moves, you've made the right contacts, and they become individuals. Those contacts have been made, they're the right people. the healthy circle in which we talked about, there must be people in that healthy circle that are going to watch your back, not have you get into things that you should not get into. So winning certainly is something that I think we all strive for, but I think the question is, for me, is when do you know you've won? Do you have a definition, not just a definition of winning, but when is it there? When does it happen? When can you stop competing and just relax? Is there a time that you should relax or could relax? That's something, because if you continue on it, you become tired. You become tired. And I'm not saying that it's a type of tiredness that you give up, but you stay at it, it becomes unwavering, and you just keep moving. So are you just moving just to move? So winning, you have to sit back and think about who you are, where you're going.
Brother Farmer, what is your definition of success, and how has it changed how you have matured?
I would say now my definition of success is not so much looking at monetary gain, what type of money I have, quote unquote, in the savings account. Um, you hear me a lot reference my relationship with my wife. This August the 10th is 36 years. The success now is like I've gained an understanding. I'm more in tune with myself. Uh, I'm able to communicate in a more effective way with her. I'm most definitely piggybacking off of Brother Larry. I'm able to listen, to comprehend, to understand, to not just respond and react. And I count that as levels of success. Um, the In my younger years, earlier seasons, I used to look at success of how can I go out there and, quote unquote, as the young people say, make that bag. How can I get that money? And I found myself just adding extra stress to me. And so it's helped me at this stage of life be more relaxed, be more comfortable, and enjoy day to day what's going on around me and the people that I do encounter.
Okay. And Brother Holly, how do you balance ambition with family, relationships, faith, and personal well-being?
I need you to say that again.
How do you balance ambition with family, relationships, family, faith, and personal well-being?
Well, I say the balance is especially with family, with my wife, my children, and I would say that would come first because the Bible say, "How can two walk together except they agree?" So we have to be in agreement with what we're doing, and to the point where it's not too much of ambitions in it, but it's more so purpose. So with the family, we would try to make sure that we're not so single minded with what we're trying to do, and we leave our kids behind. So we want to make sure, like even now, I have it where my kids every day they get up, I have them to read the take a Bible chapter, maybe take 2 or 3 verses. I want you to write the verses at the top, and then I want you to give me a summary at the bottom because I'm trying to get them to. I don't want you to be a theologist, but I want you to tell me how can you comprehend God at your level. Because one thing that my parents always told me, you got to get to know God for yourself. So I don't want them to just know him from me, but I want them to actively have their own prayer life, have their own study life, and it's teaching them comprehension, not just with the Bible. They're at the age 11 and 10 where they should be able to comprehend what they're reading. So I'm just trying to get them at a better place for their comprehension. And in that, me and my wife are on board in that. So that's one shared vision that we have. If I skipped the day and I didn't tell them, she was like, "Hey, remember you got to do this." So we're one in that. And as far as our purpose, what she chases after, I make sure I'm her number one fan. The things that I'm doing, she makes sure she's my number one fan. I don't get in her lane and try to tell her what she shouldn't and shouldn't be doing. But I do my best to encourage her. If that's what you need to do, do it. And I'm right here with you.
Okay. And Mr. Wendell, what do you want your family and community to remember about how you lived?
I would like my community, family, and everyone to know that mental health is real. And if you try to avoid it, it's not going to do you no good because we are holistic people. It's just not from one space, one area, one vision, one place that we come from. Um, us men on here are at different levels, and we have the willingness and the oomph, if you will, to continue that education for us so that we can be effective to affect our family, our jobs, our community. And when we do that, man, it's amazing. And we're doing that. And this book explains a lot about that, and we each have our own angle, if you will, slant, if you will, because we see things from a different point of view because we've experienced different things that has caused us to look at life and say, I don't want that to happen to me anymore, and I don't want it to happen to anyone else. So this is my umph on that. This is my voice on that. This is my angle. This is my point of view on that to help educate us to become better and better and better. And hey, mental health has a lot to do with that because you're looking at the brother man who's been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, used to drink that alcohol like fish in water. But yet, when I started working on my recovery, it encompassed a holistic approach, and it has made my life so much better that I can focus, that I can give other people my umph, my flavor, my salty, my seasoning, all of that. And in that, it causes a great thing to happen. It's called dun 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 growth. And that's what's happening with this book. That's what we talking about. And thank you for letting me share.
Okay, I appreciate that. And Dr. Christopher, I know you have young children. What does building a legacy mean to you?
Building a legacy, I think about what will outlive me. Because once I'm gone, um, have I left anything behind that will remind my children of the conversations we've had, that will remind them of the lessons that I wanted to teach them. Um, because, I'm very intentional about having conversations that I'm hopeful that will shape their life and help one day shape their decisions. But I want them to understand to a large degree of what helped make dad successful, and the importance of faith in my life, and the importance of the word of God in my life. And just if you think about this book, even, and other books I've written, these are things that they can pick up and they can read my thoughts, and they can read things I've shared and they can have a piece of me. But I think about what will outlive me, will my values outlive me in their heart, will the principles that I live by outlive me and live in their heart. So that's what I think about when I'm building a legacy.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Larry, how should a man respond when his plan for success does not happen the way he expected?
Well, first of all, a man, he shouldn't give up. Uh, if he's a man of faith, and I truly believe to be successful, you've got to be. Uh, he needs to go in prayer and just seek the Lord and ask the Lord to show him what his plan should be. Because you may think you're supposed to go. I'll give my pastor as an example. He was in the business world. He became a pastor, and he came to our church about 20 years ago, and he preached. He was a young man. He had no intentions of becoming a pastor, but the Lord led him in that direction. And he said, it's just like kids. Him and his wife had decided they didn't want any children. He now has 5 young adults. So, early on in life, you may say, well, this is my path and this is the direction I'm going. But at some point, you may find out that it's going to change because either life or God has a different direction for you. And after all, I firmly believe that this is not my home. I'm a visitor, I'm a guest. I want to treat it like I respect everyone around me, but I know that I'm not going to be here for eternity. And that's okay because I truly believe that's the way God planned it. But while I am here, I feel it's not only an obligation, but it's my God-given gift, hopefully, to share what I learned throughout life so maybe I can make someone else's life better, not only from a spiritual aspect, but from a physical aspect. It's like men, I found out I had 4 brothers. I got 1 brother left, and I'm actually the oldest of these brothers. All 4 of us, we had some form of cancer. And until we started talking, we didn't even realize it. Our dad didn't have it. Our granddad didn't have it, but we got it. So I think as men, sometimes maybe we think it's a weakness to share not only about mental health, but about physical health. But that's how we grow. And that's how, say, maybe there's some men, especially black men, some of them, they don't want to go to the doctor. Well, maybe going to that doctor can extend your legacy another 10 or 20 years. I remember when I was diagnosed, I had prostate cancer about 12 years ago. And so when I went to a urologist and I had some other health issues, and I asked him, he said, we had a pretty good conversation. And he said, I have men come in here, say they neglected their body, and say when they come in here and they want me to do something about their cancer, he said, if I don't think, in my estimation, they're going to live another 10 years, I just tell them, well, just go home and just live the best you can. And that shook me up because I thought, well, he was being honest. But some men neglect their health. And if you're going to enjoy life, grow and learn, and try to live your God-given purpose, I feel you need to be healthy to do it, not only from a mental aspect, but from a physical aspect as well.
Very good, very good. And Brother Tremaine, I know that you're a businessman straight up and down. If you could speak to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him about becoming a successful man?
Wow. I guess not. I guess the first thing I would say is success is not. Hmm, how about I tell you what it is? This is a quote from Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale says, "Success is the attainment of a worthy ideal." So if you want to be a plumber, you want to be a trash man, you want to be a teacher, you want to be an attorney, success is the attaining of that thing and then being the best at it. That's the first thing I would say. I would also tell that person that you pick the road, you pick your path. Your path is determined by your personality, the season that you're in, the access that you have, and the standard that you set for your life. Not everybody needs college. Not everybody needs to join the military. Not everybody needs to be a businessman or businesswoman. And not everybody is going to choose to go out and get a credential stack and do that thing. You pick your path. That's the first thing I would say. Now, the next thing I would say, after that person figures out that path that they're going down and what they desire to be in life, is one, your first ministry is your family, period. You are responsible for the livelihood and the safe upkeeping of your family, period. Not out there in the world taking care of others before you take care of your family. I also believe that failure is one of the biggest teachers of success. However, we don't all have to fail. You can learn from somebody else. My biggest failure and the biggest fail I ever had in life in one of my ventures was I respected the people in the building, honored them more than I honored my obligation to my family and my civic duty. Okay. When I learned that, that totally has changed my mindset, because then I have to realize that at the end of the day, you honoring these other people, they can go get a job somewhere else. You honoring other folks, and they can go find some other venture if they don't like the methodologies or the standards that you've set. So one, know who you are, know your path, don't let anybody else shape it. And number two, make sure that you set family first as your first ministry. You got to honor God first, then your family, but your first ministry is your family. Once you take care of them, you can go out and take care of anything else.
I think I think that's fantastic. And as we come to the close of this programming, I'd like to thank all the brothers here for their sharing. I'd like to thank the audience for participating and being a part of this. Also, I want to let you know that this is just a small snippet of the book, Man Exchange, the manuscript, Ready to Lead, Thrive, and Win. I hope that you've enjoyed this segment of the programming. I hope that you continue to strive as men and strive as families, that we build, that we learn how to lead, men and women, but particularly men. We learn how to lead through leadership, character, accountability, growth, and resilience in relationships. These are key and core values and things that we need. And when we develop those, then we win, because then we have kind of made a definition of who we are, a purpose, as I hear someone say, that we now can set the goals for our success. And in doing that, then is when we start the legacy. So we want to continue to grow. We want to continue to thrive, lead, and win in everything that we do. Last, I have one last thing. I want 30 seconds. Just in a 30-second shot, please, each one of you, tell me one thing that you hope individuals learn today by watching this program. Kind of put you on the spot, but I know you can do it. 30 seconds. Brother Jerome.
We've got participants from all walks of life on this. Can you hear me? You good? Okay. We've got participants that actually had a hand in writing this book, all walks of life. And with that being said, I'm sure that there are people out there that would fit in one of the categories, or even two or three of the categories of the men that are part of this project. All you have to do is certainly attach that, find out who it is, get their name, address, phone number, and bug them to death, because they may be able to help you since you reached out. So
Right.
I'd be interested in certainly working with anyone that wants to reach out and sincerely wants to learn.
The farmer.
That it is okay, brothers, to not be okay, and seek help when needed and support.
Brother Larry.
Yes, I think I would just say I'd just like to challenge everyone on this, all my brothers. Just reach out to someone that you normally would just walk past, because you never know how just a kind word or just saying, hello, how are you today? My name's so and so. And they don't have to look like you. They can look like someone totally different, but that's okay. But just reach out to someone and you'll be surprised how much you may learn from them and they may learn from you.
Brother Christopher.
You can. I want you to know that you can do as much reading, you can do as much growing, you can do as much self-reflection as you want to, but you will never reach the level of success that you want by yourself. It's going to take connecting yourself with a group of people like this that's going to help you get to where you need to be.
Brother Tremaine.
All right. So my main thing is develop your circle of individuals that you know that you can collaborate with that are for your good, number one. And in that circle, look for individuals that you can be completely transparent with and that will hold you accountable. When you do that, acceleration is next.
Brother Window.
All I have to say is, hey, man, if y'all can see this, this is a mask, a wrestling mask. It's time to take off the mask, you all, so we can live and do better with ourselves, our family, and community.
Brother Holly.
If I can leave something for you guys to get from this, anybody that hears or buy the book, is that your pain matter, your hurt, whatever you've been through, all of those things matter, but don't lose your voice in it. You have a voice. This is a safe space, the safe space that we are offering, even by being on here, because we want to see the best version of you, and the best version of you is to heal you. So this is what the Man is Changed all about. So you can heal. We want to see the best version of you. You can't thrive without being healed.
Thank you. Thank you. And I would say I agree with everything these gentlemen have shared today. My last words would be that no effort, no results. If you need help, there's help around you. Don't have pride where you feel like no one knows what you're going through, because everyone is going through something, and we don't want to compare and compete with what you're going through. We want to complete you with that so that you can move to the new beginnings of the transformed man. Again, thank you all for being a part of the Man Exchange Summit today. I thank every brother here for being a part of the Man Exchange project. It was quite a challenge for us, but not only did we get through it, we actually thrived, and now we're winning. And we want to continue to win by expanding Man Exchange to others, men, men alike, and men, please share this wealth with the next generation coming up behind you. Thank you. Have a great day and a great weekend. Stay on, brothers. Stay on. We good? I'm talking to my producer and programmer. She's showing some
I'll be
clips.
back.
Okay. She got us all on mute. Anissa,